The 2025 Roland Garros women's semifinals are set, and three of the oddmakers' biggest title favorites ahead of the tournament are here as expected. Although one name nobody could have imagined is also contending for the title, Lois Boisson, who looks to continue her Cinderella story run. I'll preview the Sabalenka showdown, discuss how Coco and Lois claimed their quarterfinal wins, and preview their semifinal matchup before predicting who I think will face off in Saturday's final. Bonjour, je m'appelle Christian Bassnight, and welcome to Christian's Court, where I cover tennis from all angles. If you have not yet already, make sure you subscribe and click that notification bell so you are notified whenever I post more content. So I'll start with the Sabalenka Swiatek semifinal preview, since it will be the first semifinal, which starts approximately around 9 a.m. Eastern time on Thursday morning. Kind of looking at Sabalenka's journey to the semifinals, she has not yet dropped a set, and she got through some really strong tests and Amanda Anisimova, who held a 5-2 head-to-head advantage over her prior to their match in the round of 16. And then in the quarterfinals, she defeated Qinwen Zheng 7-6, 6-3 in a very impressive straight sets win, and that was also a revenge win for Aryna, considering how Zhang defeated her in the Rome quarterfinals a few weeks ago. I was impressed a lot by Biglenka's fight against Zhang. She recovered from an early break deficit to 4 down, and she really could have / should have lost that opening set, but she showed her now trademark clutchness to get out of those deficits. I think playing Zhang will help Sabalenka a lot in preparing for the semifinal against Iga. They low-key have pretty similar game styles, and they both hit with tremendous spin and heaviness of shot from the forehand wing. So for sure, I think getting by that will help Sabalenka, will only help her in this upcoming matchup. Iga, meanwhile, has only dropped one set en route to the stage, and it was her most important match of the tournament, that fourth round thriller against Elena Rybakina, where she fought back from all types of deficits. That was really like a light bulb moment for Swiatek. Her just backing up on her first serve return to give herself more of a chance helped her big time against Rybakina, and being able to get more returns back in play, and also ultimately have a better time of it when it comes down to the baseline ground stroke rallies. And I think that key change will help her against Sabalenka. Swiatek, she had a pretty solid 1-5 quarterfinal victory over Elina Svitolina, who drops down to now, I believe, 0-5 in Roland Garros quarterfinals. Iga does own a 8-4 head-to-head record over Sabalenka, and she holds a considerable 5-1 advantage on clay. Sabalenka's lone clay win was the 2023 Madrid finals, which those conditions definitely favor Sabalenka more. She really came close to beating Swiatek the year prior in that final in Madrid, fumbled a few match points, but I think the times that they have played on clay, on the slower clay, namely Rome, they did not work in Sabalenka's favor. She lost straight sets convincingly in both of those matches. Rewatching their Rome 2024 final, Iga was just able to dictate a lot more, and she was able to step up and get Sabalenka on the move with her forehand. I feel like it was also harder for Sabalenka to dictate herself, and the defense of Iga also was much more of a bigger factor. She was able to draw a lot more unforced errors from Sabalenka. For sure, Sabalenka fares better in this matchup when it's faster conditions. Her last win over Iga was Cincinnati semifinals, which she won 6-3, 6-3. There, Sabalenka did a great job of attacking Iga's forehand, her sometimes shakier forehand well with pace, and she also did well to attack Iga's serve, specifically her second serve, relentlessly. Now, there is a strong possibility that the roof will be closed for this one, as it is supposed to rain around the time of their match, which could have implications for how the matchup, of course, is played. And we saw last year how the roof really aided Naomi Osaka in her near upset win over Swiatek in the second round. Although Osaka, she does hit much flatter than Sabalenka does. Also, Aryna has never beaten Iga, even on the indoor clay of Stuttgart, lost twice to her in the finals in straight sets. But I still believe the conditions might favor Sabalenka more with her service games compared to outdoors. I also think Aryna would be able to attack Iga's second serves easier, judging from what I saw in the Keys Gauff match. I am curious to see how Iga approaches this one tactically. Will she be more in her defensive bag, or will she try to step up and be more aggressive and try to spread the court, dragging Sabalenka wide with her forehand? Thinking about the mental factors at play here, first, there could be potential scar tissue with Sabalenka and trying to make her first Roland Garros final. She's come also close in the previous years. In 2023, she fumbled a match point against Karolina Muchova. 2024, she really should have made at least the semifinals, but that bad stake she had before her match against Mira Andreeva really did her in. And this would be big for her and making her first non-hardcourt final. And I think she knows that this is her best opportunity to do so, considering how Iga, while she still is the queen of clay, hasn't been at her top level this season. Meanwhile, Swiatek, she is very experienced at this level, being 4-0 at Roland Garros semifinals. However, Iga has not made a single final in exactly a year. And she has her own scar tissue, especially since the last time she made a slam semifinal, she fumbled match points against Madison Keys at the Australian Open. I think this right here will be the match to tell us if Iga is 100% out of the trenches. Even if she loses this one, if she makes it a good, strong, competitive match against Sabalenka, puts in a good effort and doesn't kind of go off the rails like we saw in Madrid against Coco and Rome against Collins, then I'll say that she's out of the trenches. If she wins, of course, she's out of the trenches because she beat the world's best Sabalenka. I think that Rybakina win, while it was impressive and she fully earned that, there's no denying, again, that Atlanta did let Iga off the hook a little bit. And it really could have been a 6-1, 6-3 type of win. Sabalenka will for sure have her ups and downs, but she's not going to let Iga off the hook again like Atlanta did, especially with all those breakpoint opportunities Rybakina had. I don't think the Roland Garros nature of it all, with the history of Iga having a whole bunch of success, will be as much of a factor because of the lead up to this whole match, as Aryna has had a lot more confidence, not only from the title she has won in Madrid and Miami, but also because of the win she's gotten over, again, the likes of Anisimova and Zheng. Those will aid her tremendously, I feel, and arm her with the belief that she might not have had otherwise, considering how Iga has, again, dominated their clay head-to-head. I just really can't bet against form right now, and I feel like Aryna is in the better form, so I'm going to be having her win this one in 3 sets to advance to the finals. Now, our third women's quarterfinal period, our first of the day on day 11, was quite something. Coco Gauff, she ended Madison Keys' calendar slam bid with a 6-7, 6-4, 6-1 win. The roof being closed definitely helped Maddie, and a lot of commentators were kind of writing Coco off because of the roof closure, and again, it aiding Keys and the ball seemingly being able to travel through the court a lot faster. But even still, I knew Coco would come out of this one and win the match, because I just felt like with this one, especially being on clay, she would just be a little bit too steady for Keys ultimately, and that's really what happened. Now, this match was really messy. There's no other way to describe it, especially for the opening 2 sets. There were trades of breaks in the first 2 games, but after that, Maddie really locked in, and really Coco struggled with her serve and forehand consistency, and Maddie looked like she was well on her way to a bagel set, leading 4-1, 40-15. But like with Iga in that Madrid match, she kind of cooled off, and things got a tad bit ugly on her end. Coco, meanwhile, won 5 consecutive games, and she did do well to improve her depth of shot. And the American Gauff had a set point at 5-4, but she started to get a little bit tight, it seemed. And she also had a small opening in the 6-5 game, but wasn't able to close, and she became a little bit error-prone. The serve really did Coco in for this opening set. She served 7 double faults in the first set alone, 3 of which came in the tiebreaker, and that 6-all tiebreaker double fault was really something. It was literally at the bottom of the net. I was impressed, though, by how well Coco turned things around in the second set, mainly because she missed out on 4 breakpoint chances in the very first game of set 2. She did not let that deter her, and she won 4 games in a row. Yes, she got help from Keys' errors, but still got to give credit to Coco for that. But then Coco felt a little bit charitable herself, and her level dipped considerably, and Keys took advantage to level things up at 4-all. Gauff was able to break, though, and she limped across the finish line to serve the set out. And I think that 5-4 game and Coco being able to close out the second set was major, because if she did not hold, I don't know if she wins this match. Coco, I think, freed up a little bit more after she took the second set, and she played by far her best tennis of the match in the third set. She won the final 8 of 9 games, and she entered lockdown mode for sure in the deciding set. She hit 2 winners to just 2 unforced errors, and that decider. And Keys, meanwhile, hit 6 winners to 18 unforced errors. Both women littered up the stat sheet now. Keys hit 60 unforced errors to 25 winners. Coco hit 41 unforced errors to 15 winners. Definitely was not the prettiest match at all. Maybe I should have expected that, because their Madrid round of 16 match from last year was low-key very similar. The Keys forehand, I was surprised by how inconsistent it was. I thought that was going to be her big like shot to get her through, but a lot of times she just wasn't able to keep that level of consistency again from that wing. Keys also did not win a good percentage of her first serve points, especially in the final 2 sets. She finished with 55% of her first serve points won. Meanwhile, both women though struggled immensely with their second serve points won. Keys 33% of second serve points won. Meanwhile, Gauff won 34% of her second serve points. I don't want to beat a dead horse. We all know that this was not Coco's best match from start to finish, but I am wondering whether this is that one messy, winning, ugly match that Coco needs to kind of turn things around, because anytime she kind of goes deep in a tournament, she has one really shaky match before she elevates her level, and this very well could be that for her, especially considering how well she finished it off. Now, as we all know, joining Coco in the semifinals as her opponent will be Lois Boisson, who defeated Mira Andreeva 7-6, 6-3 to become the first woman to make the semifinals in their maiden slam since Jennifer Capriati in 1990. Lois is the first French woman to make the semifinal stage since Marion Bartoli in 2011. She's ranked 361st in the world, and she is the third lowest women's slam semifinalist in the past 30 years, including unranked players. I talked about Lois' story a little bit previously, but it's just awesome to see her recover after tearing her ACL last year when she was supposed to initially make her slam main draw debut, and now she's here like making this unbelievable run to the semifinals. And we cannot stress enough just how new this all is to Lois. Not even 3 months ago, she won her very first tour level main draw match against Harriet Dart in an infamous match. But yeah, her ability to kind of elevate her level here in such short notice in this slam as a wild card is truly something. I knew that Lois had a chance for sure to win this match, especially considering how she would have the full crowd advantage, but seeing her warm up with the world number 1 Jannik Sinner before the match, I definitely favored her chances even more. And I feel like Amelie, she definitely cut Jannik a good little check. Her and the FFT cut Jannik a good check because definitely the warm-up helped. Mira looked well on her way to a comfortable straight sets win though, leading 5-3 in the opening set, and she had a set point in this 5-3 game, and she also had another set point at 6-5 in the tiebreaker. Mira also led 3-love in the second set, but from that point on, she did not win another game in the match. Props to Lois for sticking to her winning game plan during those adverse moments. She lost a long 10-plus minute game at 6-5 in the first set where she had 3 set points, but she just kept looking for that big forehand to open up a court for herself. And I also think that Boisson's athleticism suffocated Andreeva at times too, who can get a little bit air prone. Again, as expected, the crowd was a major factor, and a lot of that was due to just how tight the match was and Mira just not being able to run away with it like she possibly could have. And Andreeva, she held it together well for all the first set, but midway through the second set, she definitely lost it. She started fussing at her box, telling one of her team members to like leave the box. She did her best Rublev impersonation with the hitting herself, and then she smacked the ball in the stands, which the crowd really got her on her tail for. And I think overall, this is going to be a big learning lesson for Andreeva. This was kind of the first time where she's faced a home crowd be this rowdy, and the French fans are probably bar none in terms of being like this. So for sure, she can only learn from this, and she will have many more opportunities to get to this type of stage and beyond. Now, I already knew this from her Pegula win, but Boisson has major game, and I do think that she has what it takes to beat Coco in this semifinal. I was very impressed by her nerve. Again, this was her slam main draw debut, and the Pegula comeback win was obviously very impressive, but I feel like this was on another level. This was more surprising to me because Andreeva had been in better form leading into this one. She was much more comfortable on the clay, but the way she kind of dismantled Andreeva towards the end was truly impressive. I was also impressed by Boisson's clutchness too. Like, her serving was very clutch whenever her back was against the wall. Namely, she saved break points at 3-2 and 4-3 in the second sets with just clutch serving, and then her ability to kind of break through at love and wrap up the match. Like it was nothing to win her first slam quarterfinal. That's very telling that she's might go for more. Like, she very well could go all the way. Will she still be this clutch in her maiden slam semifinal? I really think that she can, again, judging by how clutch she was in her first slam quarterfinal and to her win against Pegula in that 4th round. And I liked her responses and her press conference after that quarterfinal win, people were asking her to kind of reflect on this magical run, and she's like, I'm just focused on the task at hand for real. And Lois said herself that she is not satisfied with just making the semifinal. She wants to go all the way. She said, I think every kid who plays tennis has the dream to win a slam. More for a French player to win Roland Garros, for sure. So yeah, it's a dream. For sure, I would go for the dream because my dream is to win it, not to just be in the semifinal. I also think one thing that sets Lois apart from her predecessors, her French female predecessors, is that she seems to really embrace the crowd a lot more. A lot of French stars really kind of crumbled under the pressure of playing at their home major, but not Boisson. And she mentioned that too, how she, again, plays better with the crowd, and the crowd is going to be an undeniable factor in this match. I do think that Coco has experience in dealing with the crowd and facing Jasmine Paolini in the Rome final. I do think the crowd had an impact in Coco's more subdued nature out there. But point being is, I think that Gauff will be more prepared to face sort of that atmosphere, having just faced it a few weeks ago against Jasmine. But I think the French fans, regardless, are going to be on another level. And I think that Coco needs to make sure that she does not let Lois linger, needs to create as much distance as possible, and not let the crowd into this be invested. It needs to be as straightforward as possible for Gauff. It's not going to be easy though, because again, Lois is playing tremendous tennis, and her forehand will be the biggest weapon on court for real. She always is going to look for that big, heavy type of forehand. Coco's backhand, meanwhile, is superior to Lois's, and I think that she needs to try to aim to go backhand to backhand more before sensing the right opportunity to go on and go down the line. Boisson's serve is also solid. It's not the biggest, but it would not be a total walk in the park for Coco to break, and for sure Gauff needs to step up her serving in this one compared to how she served against Keys. Lois has already shot up in the rankings to a career high of 65, at least in the live rankings, and if she were to win this one, she will rise to 35 in the world. Now, give my prediction, I do not believe that she will win this one and make the final. I'll be having Coco win this in 2 tight sets. I say this mainly because, first of all, I think Coco having somewhat of a scrappy match against Madison Keys is actually a good omen, as she tends to play better after playing poor. And whenever she plays a good match, she tends to not play as well in the next match. It's just something about her. I also believe that the Paolini-Rome final, again, will aid her in dealing with the crowd. I don't think it'll be as big of a factor as it was with Andreeva and them getting in her head. I think the first set will be extremely crucial for the outcome of this one. I could see it be a tight grind, maybe another tiebreaker, which I have Coco taking, and then I think that Coco would run away with it a little bit in the end. And I say this because I can see Lois hitting a physical wall. She has played a lot of tennis. I don't know if she is injury prone. Again, she tore her ACL and has dealt with numerous injuries throughout her career. So being able to play all this tennis, the matches haven't been all that easy for her. I don't know. But yeah, I'm sticking to my prediction that I had at the beginning of the tournament, the very start of having that Gauff-Sabalenka final. Let me know in the comments if you agree with me having Coco and Aryna into the final, or do you think that Iga and then even Lois can make it through to face off against each other? Again, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you are notified whenever I post more Roland Garros content. Thank you all so much for watching and for your support, and I will see you all next time here on Christian's Court.